The Boilers put belt to ass. And they won 104-60, whatever the fuck. Who cares?
Yeah.
And I didn't even watch 10 minutes of the game.
19 3-pointers. They set a record against how many 3-pointers you've ever allowed as a program.
I don't like the metaphor belt to ass on this game because typically you think you like belt to ass, it's like you're getting spanked, right?
Yeah.
No, they put belt in ass.
Yeah.
Like straight up there.
With no other loop.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I think my only comment after it ended, I just texted you guys, said, well, at least it was close. We stayed within 50. It was an absolute ass whipping. And because Purdue was ranked 20, does this show that Nebraska doesn't deserve to be in the top 25?
Duh.
I mean, with Purdue being at 20 and just getting your ass whooped, it shows that they'll win some of those good games. Getting UCLA at 15 was great. I don't think it's something they can do consistently.
Well, again, where did they play? UCLA.
They played at home.
And look, winning on the road is hard. It looks bad. It felt bad.
It sucked.
Okay, so I lasted like 10 minutes. Did you guys watch the whole
I watched
thing?
the entire thing.
I watched like 5 minutes.
My wife asked me, she said, why are you still watching this? I said, don't you know me? I love the pain. Every time they kept just jacking up threes, even contested, it just went in.
Yeah.
Of course.
Reverse alley oops. They were just kept going in.
It was insane. This team, for some reason, when you get them out of their home arena, they are a whole different basketball team. It started after that little dink 3-pointer against Iowa. And all of a sudden, the floodgates opened. And they didn't just open. Like, this team is like 10 feet underwater right now.
Is this not the same discussion that I feel like we had around this same time last year?
Yes, it's the same thing.
It is.
When you hit the road, mental midgets.
Okay.
When they're at home, they're giants. I mean, they play well, they play aggressive, they get on the road, and they play scared.
It's a home versus road discussion. Okay. Winning on the road is a tough thing. Just ask opponents that come to PBA and play. It's hard winning on the road in the Big Ten. Yeah, it looks bad. Is this going to kill the resume? No. But it makes those home games that you play that much more important. You have Rutgers on Thursday. This is a must-win game. It is. Like, I know we're only in January, but this is one of those games that, okay, you know what? If you're going to lose every fucking road game, and in that fashion, let alone, you have to win all your home games then. You did it last year, and you got in the tournament, and cool, right? If they don't win this game against Rutgers, I don't know about your tourney chances.
So, I mean, the only 2 games I've listened to, I usually watch them when I can, when it's not like on BTN Plus or Peacock or something stupid, right? And both of them were Michigan State and then this weekend. And I'm like,
are you bad luck?
You never see Nebraska winning 104-60 at home. Sure, they win at home. Sure.
Yeah.
But it's like, you're never winning in those type of margins. I know it's hard to win on the road, but like those teams coming into PBA aren't losing by 40 points.
True.
Then you see Nebraska lose to Michigan State like they did. They lose to Iowa the way that they did. And now they lose to Purdue the way that they did. And it's like, dude, what is going on?
It's the Jekyll and Hyde thing. We talked about this last year, almost to a T, about the same time. I don't know what happens between the ears with these players. Like,
you know that's what it is.
Yeah, it's 100% mental.
Yeah.
Juwan Gary is a whole different guy when he's outside of PBA. The shooting confidence is not there. It's already tough because this team does not have an offensive identity. They hang their hat on defense.
Yeah.
When that defense is giving up the open shots like they have been, and they're having the mental errors that they're having, not getting back and not getting to the open shooters, then it causes a lot of problems because your offense already can't bail them out. You don't have Casey Tominaga walking through that door. And when Connor Essegian, there's a lid on the rim right now for him too. So when your best player, Bryce Williams, can't score, it's a recipe for disaster.
There's a lot of times when you're watching a Nebraska game and you're like, point out the scorer on the floor right now.
It's bad.
It's very hard to do that. Now, look, I'm one of those guys that appreciates the new Fred Hoiberg identity to where he emphasizes defense. Hoiberg's like the ultimate offensive guy. You would think he'd be able to chalk these freaking offensive plays because he's like a genius at it, which makes me appreciate the flip to the defensive identity even more. Dang, who's the scorer? Like Essegian, he's a good shooter, okay?
Yeah.
But damn it. Hot and cold. Bryce Williams, the moment the defender shows any pulse, he kind of goes, oh, man, it's just one of those days. Juwan Gary, yeah, you're open, dude.
They're leaving you open.
Why?
They're
Why are you
leaving
open?
you wide open.
Like, Juwan Gary's one of those dudes where it's like, no. Made it. Or it's no.
Off the side of the backboard. Dude, so he airballed his first shot of the day against Purdue.
Yeah.
And then one of his 3-pointers was off the side of the backboard.
You can't do sure, you're maybe not a good shooter, but you can't do that, right?
I wouldn't hit the side of the backboard. I'm telling you.
We make a lot of Nebraska winning 20 in a row at PBA. Purdue, you guys know how many games they've won?
A lot of games in a row.
This was their 26th in a row.
Yes.
We make a big deal out of PBA, rightfully so, but Purdue even more at Mackey.
Nebraska is in a position this month are pretty much all that matter in basketball. But you have to have a record that makes it matter, and Nebraska has that right now. You say Rutgers on Thursday is a must win.
I'm going to die on that hill.
Yeah, no, I agree. The next 30 days,
yeah,
must wins.
They essentially have to do exactly what they did last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Run the table at home and sneak out one on the road, because that's what they did.
Yeah, winning on the road is hard. Yeah, all these home games that you play, you have to win them.
Let's take a step back.
Come on.
This is the definition of a game that beats you twice. Nebraska goes up 15 on Iowa at one point. Wow. Okay. Yeah. This is that team. They're good. They let Iowa scrap and claw, and now their mentals are mush. I'm hoping Thursday against Rutgers is an opportunity to get their heads right, see some shots go in. PBA is going to have to do their job like they always do. And if they can get a win at home against Rutgers, I think it will hopefully set them up for another opportunity on the road.
Giving up that 15-point lead. I forget that dweeb's name. Just fucking made everything in the second half. And if they would have just pulled out that dub, like, would I even care about this Purdue beatdown?
Wouldn't even care.
Yeah, you would. You're a liar if you're telling yourself.
Like, if they wouldn't have given up that 15-point lead and actually won on the road versus the fuck eyes,
that's
honestly, I
don't know. We would have entered this episode the same damn way. I guarantee you we would.
We're entering this episode with back-to-back road losses.
Knowing how hard it is to win on the road, and I was another place that they just don't fucking lose there.
Sure.
I would have forgiven. I sincerely believe I would not be nearly as heated.
You're telling me, like, Nebraska gets that 15-point lead. And let's say it still goes to overtime. Nebraska wins by 2.
Yeah.
And then we get blown out by 40 or whatever it was by Purdue. You're telling me that you're coming in any sort of a positive light.
Well,
that's bullshit. And you know it.
Fuck you. It's kind of a chicken and egg thing, right? Because if they would have won against Iowa, would they have lost by 40 to Purdue?
No, they wouldn't.
Probably not.
No, they let that game beat them twice.
Yeah.
And I just hope that it doesn't linger further, because you could just tell, just looking at the team, that they were checked out. The entire game, though, the game was like 5-2 or something. This is going to get ugly. This doesn't look good.
Right.
You could just tell they got off the bus. They were asleep the entire time, and it got worse and worse and worse.
Snowball.
Is it me, or has that been kind of the story of the season where you can tell the games where that team is awake? Just in the first 5 minutes, you can tell how they're going to perform. It's felt like that all season.
If you've watched this team, you know when they're clicking, when the ball's actually moving. When it gets stuck,
or you hand the ball off in the corner multiple times, and it's like,
what are you doing?
What's that? What's the whole purpose of this?
Because you say, like, Fred is an offensive guy, and this team has a defensive identity. You still have Fred Hoiberg as your coach. So why is the ball getting stuck? Why is our point guard not distributing the ball properly? God, that doesn't look right.
Mm-hmm.
The last 2 games, we'll say half of the Iowa game, they let that game beat them twice. And I'm hoping going back to PBA will refresh everything.
Is there a correlation between Michigan State and Purdue?
Yeah, both on the road.
I mean, yeah,
and they're both very good teams.
They're both,
like, in their own right.
They're both good teams. Yeah, it's both on the road, but it looked like they were playing like a high school team.
I think the common factor of Michigan State and Purdue is when Nebraska gets outsized, things fall apart.
We got to have a conversation about Maya, but go on, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, we've got bigs. This is the tallest team Fred's ever had. So I don't think it's that. The common denominator between Michigan State and Purdue is that they look like they couldn't miss. They were open shots, contested shots. They were making everything.
Connor, whenever I see an opponent that has like a 6'10" big, I am actually less concerned.
Are you going to talk about mobility?
I'm going to talk about how the identity of this defense is don't allow anything in the paint, right? Let the team shoot. And look, that's going to bite you in the ass.
And it has.
Whenever I see a big, I'm like, all right, well, that's a great matchup for Nebrasketball because that's what their defense is designed to put a lid on.
Right. Like if your offense depends on a Ryan Kalkbrenner to score you 20 points a game, Yeah, Nebraska can shut that
They
down.
make Kalkbrenner look like a fucking joke.
Yeah.
And Creighton, did they make a lot of shots in their loss?
No. But they had a lot of opportunities.
UCLA had a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, they kept
missed. So, yeah, you're going to run into the fucking buzzsaws like this.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jared. The games that we lose, it's not the big. I would much rather have Kalkbrenner running in than having all the white shooters that they have at Iowa.
Nebraska beat Purdue, and I know it was one time, but they had Zach Edey.
Yeah.
Like
their
the
offense,
ultimate big.
Yeah, their offense revolved around him. You know what? I appreciate that take. That's probably the best, most clear take that I've heard about the whole situation. And talking about Fred Hoiberg at Nebraska and their identity on defense and stuff.
Yeah.
I've just never thought about it. So that was brilliant.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I might have a piece of cake. In these wins, like against UCLA, Nebraska shot very well from the free throw line.
Yeah.
They were ass versus Iowa.
Terrible. The worst of the season.
There's a part of me. It's like, do you start Sammy Hoiberg on road games?
I bet he will.
Like, do you do that? Just so there's a freaking spark at the beginning of games.
But you know what? Like, people can say, well, it's the coach's son and he's getting the nod. No, like, honestly, he was the only player on the court against Purdue that had any sort of life, that was doing anything offensively and defensively. He actually has been making threes the last couple games. We hung out with his family in Memphis for the tournament game, and his brother looks identical. It's always funny seeing.
I thought it was him. I'm like, dude, you should be warming up.
Like, why is Sam Hoiberg in this bar with us right now?
Why is he drinking?
Have you guys seen too where like they pan the camera off and it's usually like his family and it looks like Sam's in the stands? But it's hilarious. But no, I'm with you. I think that if they were to give Sam the nod, I think it says something to the rest of the guys.
Yeah.
Like, you got to have some energy.
But only road games. So that's the only time you'll start Sam is road games, because home games, our guys are fine at home.
Yeah, we've got energy.
Apparently.
Again, last year at this exact time, we were talking about Sam Hoiberg for one reason. He was the pest, the gym rat.
We love the
pests. Lunch pail guy.
First in, last out.
Coach's son.
White.
Yeah. But we constantly talked about, we need you to be a pest on defense. And I think it says something about, the absence of Casey, that now we're looking at Sam Hoiberg and it's like, hey, we still need you to be that same pest you've been for the last 12 months. But we need a little bit more out of you on offense.
Yeah, because out of everybody on the floor, with all due respect to Juwan Gary, he's an energy guy.
And he's a defensive guy.
Most of the time. But there are moments where it's like, bro, where you at?
Right.
And same with Bryce, like offensively, he's usually going to be effective in some way. But then there are times where it's like, bro, where you at? With Sam, it's like, there he is. Look, he's hustling. He's diving into the stands. His knees are all skinned up because he's all over the floor. He's just one of those dudes that you never doubt. And yeah, he's the prototypical coach's son, all that shit, right?
Yeah.
White.
It doesn't help him that he's vertically challenged too. Like, he has to.
He has heart, man.
His heart has to be bigger than him because he's not a big guy on the court.